Okay, I'm on to the left-hand taillight for my car. I bought a spare replacement one for a cheap price just to put on, but it was in worse condition than the one on the car, so I took the one off my car, and this is actually the one I'm going to modify because it's in way better condition. But I just wanted to talk about the circuit a little bit so that way I can throw this in a video if I need to. The circuit is pretty well close to the right-hand version, so the modifications I talked about before are going to be pretty similar, but the components will just be like flipped around, and there was one connection difference, but I can explain that later. I'll do a separate little video cut of close-up mode of this so I can explain better where the pins are and whatnot, but the idea is pretty much the same. They still control the LEDs with a little transistor or MOSFET driven by a resistor that is powered by the IC controller, and same thing with the other side. The component names are the exact same, they're just in a different location. So exactly what I explained on the right hand one will apply to this one. Okay, just like I did before, and it's hard with close-up mode, you need to look for Q4 and R25, and there's an IC chip connection that goes to R25, and R25 leads to the MOSFET or transistor, and that's the connection we want to break and control. So here on the half ring, you can see Q24 here by my thumbnail, and looking from the top, it's the same exact thing. The bottom pin, from what you're seeing, goes to R25, but you can see there's a little spot here and a little spot here, and there's actually no direct connection from what you see here, but if you flip the circuit board over, there's actually a little chase running from here to here, so that's how they connect that. But that's the connection to leave alone. That's the one that runs from here to here. What you want to do is break from R25 to the IC chip, which above R25 you can see it goes up to here, and there's actually a chase on the back of the circuit board that ends up right about here, I think. So if you flip it over, I think it's this bottom hole at the center of my fingernail, and it goes up and over. So I'm going to actually break it in between these two connections, then solder a wire here and a wire here, and that'll allow me to control it. And in this case, I'm actually going to do it a little bit backwards. The R26 and Q6 connections from the IC chip, they actually run straight. Let's see, here's Q6. You can see it leads straight to R26, and then the lead goes all the way around this arc here underneath these three red diodes. So it goes around the arc, under these two, under this one, and straight to the very first pin of the IC chip here. And that's a problem because that doesn't give me a clear location to actually solder to if I were to break this. So what I'm going to do is just break this really anywhere, and this will be the one that I jumper from the resistor to the other side. So I'll use the control for R25 to power R26 with the jumper step down here. It's hard to see, but yeah, that's the basics of the controlling it portion. I'm going to show you the actual modification to do to actually break these control circuits. Like I said before, this is unmodified so far, so that way I can actually show you how I do it rather than try it and fail like I did before and have to figure it out. But yeah, we're going to break the connection to R25 and R26 from the IC chip. To do that, I have my Dremel here, and this is actually, I don't know how good the GoPro can pick it up, but it's a little rounded bit, and it's just for fine engraving and stuff like that. And it's just the easiest thing to carve away the connections on this circuit board. So what we're going to do, like I explained before, going to find R25 and then break the connection that goes to the IC controller. I drew this based on what I saw on the right hand one. They had a chase between the resistor and a different point, but that's just how I drew it. As long as you break the connection from the chip to there and you have a place from the IC chip and on the other side to solder, then you'll be fine. But let's see if this picks this up. So I got R25 right here, and I don't want to break the connection to Q4, so you leave that alone. But there's a pin up here by my thumbnail, and that goes up to the IC chip, but it goes from this little connection around or across the back. So I'm actually going to break the connection across the back so I can solder here. No, sorry. So I can solder here and here with my control wires. So here goes. I think that's it. Use my circuit tester to make sure it doesn't conduct between them. Seriously hate this GoPro. There we go. So all you have to do is really touch between the two pins, and if you hear a beep, you know you have a connection, but if you don't, then you know you broke it. And we don't have a connection. Cool. So if I touch right there on the end, it doesn't, or it actually connects, but here it doesn't. And to give you a demo of what that actually just did to the circuit, I'll turn on my power supply here. Connect up the ground. And then I'll just turn on the tail lights. You can see it actually broke these 3 LEDs. So that's why you have to break 2 different connections on here, because Q4 and R25 control these 3, and then Q6 and R26 control these 3. So they run the power directly to the center of the circuit board, and then split up these 3 LED, like all of these LEDs in 3s, and they control them with these components on the end with the ground. So actually, I'll show you the break real quick. It's a lot brighter. It's the same effect. And the turn signal should not work, but we'll see. Yeah. See how the turn signal flickers? If there's LEDs out, then it'll tell the car that, or it'll just turn itself off and tell the car, hey, your tail light's out, and it'll do that fast flicker thing. And that's what my other corrections actually get around. There's a pin I have to ground, and I have to steal power from one side to the other, but I'll demonstrate that later. But it's the turn signal where it actually indicates, okay, yeah, you have a tail light out. So that's one. Now, like I explained before, there's no easy spot to solder between R25 and the IC chip, because it just goes straight underneath everything, straight to the IC chip. So I'm just going to break it probably in a decent location. Where can I put it? I'll actually just break it right there. We'll see. But yeah, so this will take control away from, or power away from these 3 now. Damn it! Stupid GoPro. Sorry for weird angles. It's really hard to get the GoPro in one orientation. If I lean down to do something, you won't be able to see anything. But check the connection. It should be from this pin of the IC chip to here. So I'll test where I broke it. Maybe. Where did? Oh no, I'm on the wrong setting. It should be right here. Yeah. So that's on the side that I broke, but if I touch the resistor, then I know it's broken. So, okay. And one more quick power up here. now the half ring doesn't light at all. So first modification done.